Hi, my name is Lauren Hancock. I am discussing Pillar 1, Part B, the communication plan. Whom are we communicating with? So the principal will communicate with the PCL on creating the plan to communicate with parents, guardians, students, athletic groups, extracurricular groups, such as band, theater, choir, academics, art, UIL, local after-school programs, transportation, and emergency services. Types of communication will happen via social media using Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts, email, Parent Square app, or a text message service, postal service, and a weekly reminder sheet to send home from the homeroom teacher. So email, the frequency will be daily reports happening on campus from the head principal. I've had maybe three principals so far use this method, and I personally feel like as a teacher, it is just so nice to get a rundown being busy constantly. At least I know that my principal's reaching out, even if I don't see him or her in person. They don't stop by my room because I understand what they're doing and how busy they are. But I feel like getting a daily report is kind of like a reaching out and making sure that we still have that line of communication open. So I really enjoyed that. Um, a weekly newsletter for to be sent out on Sunday evenings from the principal. It also could be, early Monday morning upon start time at school. But I include a Google Calendar for events, whether that's on the website. I think it will stay on the website if this were my campus, and I would also make sure to include it in the newsletter, just because I think having a visual really helps. And it's really simple to do with Google. The purpose of this communication is just basic day-to-day communication and updates, specifically from teachers to students and teachers to parents. So not only just during our workday when we're communicating back and forth, whether it be about behavior, whether it be academics, or something positive, or something regarding grades and Skyward. Um, Other than that, students also email each other. This is, standard form of communication, so that's its purpose. And then a weekly newsletter sent home on paper regarding important reminders about behavior expectations, school supplies, extracurricular events, academic events, progress reports, and grading policies. Um, I think having that newsletter, I know that may seem like a lot of communication, but I feel like the daily report from a principal is short and sweet, like maybe a few bullet points. And it's just also like a hey, what's up? Good morning, good afternoon. I think, like I said, keeping that line of communication open and having a greeting is different from a newsletter of the happenings at the school. I never thought it was bombarding, so that was a concern of mine at first. But I think teachers are going to appreciate that, and I think parents will too. Um, Person in charge here is going to be the head principal. Social media using Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts. So the frequency, I would just say as needed, because special programs like electives and student groups that have teacher advisors are going to probably update these with, I'd say Instagram is mainly promoting, positive things that are going on in the school and sharing everything happenings at school with the community. And that's visual, that's photos and videos, right? So I think that's more of a visual thing, but Twitter and Facebook are kind of long form and sometimes short form, as far as Twitter goes, communications. The purpose here is updates on transportation services, so bus schedules, hours of operation, or the schedule at the school, including holidays, state and federal. Promote school events such as athletics, theater, choir, UIL, and dance programs, any other extracurricular. Sharing and promoting school information available to stakeholders. So, you put your brand out there, you put your school out there, your art department, your CTE department, your, math, your academics, your cheerleaders. They're out there on Instagram and promoting your school in a positive way. That's going to be seen by the community. Parent Square app or a text message service. So the frequency here would be as needed and is also posted on the Google Calendar. So personally, the Parent Square has been, I'm not a parent, but those parents are also teachers. The last, few districts I've worked at, they love Parent Square. It's on their phone. You can view Skyward, you can do grades, you can email teachers immediately. You can see tardies. They get notifications if a student is late, tardy, or absent. And I've noticed a lot of parents, like, they'll communicate immediately with their students, and students will immediately communicate with me, like, hey, my mom just told me I was kind of tardy last period, and they'll stop and take care of it. Um, and then on the other side of this, the text message service, I had this. I'm sure this is pretty common now, but it was kind of like Raptor alerts. So I would get a text if there was a lockdown or a lockout, um, and other important information. So another reason why it was so great, if you didn't have internet to receive emails and Raptor alerts, or internet service or data, then you would have a text message go through if you had service. So one or the other, you're getting very important like Raptor alerts, like lockdown, lockout, holds, important things like that, for safety. And I really like the text message because it would include other updates. So I think that you can adjust those to what's necessary for your campus. So, I pretty much think emergency services would be fine to include, but it also included transportation and bus schedules changes and holidays. So parents would get a text message and I would get a text message. So employees, parents, and students all were receiving these text messages, and you can obviously filter through them and have them only sent to seniors or juniors or freshman parents, about things like that. But I think it was like a great mode of communication, especially in 2025, right? Um, I've talked about the Google Calendar for events, having that on your site, having that on Facebook. I think sharing that and just making sure everyone's on the same page, your community can see what big events are going on in the school and they can become involved. Sharing and promoting school information available to stakeholders. So, um, I'm not sure that maybe Parent Square would be best for that. Um, the person in charge here is the associate principal or the assistant principal. Now, I'm not sure how these jobs are broken up, but I'm assuming a principal needs to be in charge of Parent Square since it has grades or relates to grades. And then obviously the campus safety person, probably is going to be sending out Parent Square notifications or text messages. Postal service. So obviously some families may not have internet. It's just the postal mail frequency to be as necessary purposes for transcripts, progress reports, and other important legal documentation. I'm sure that those things have to be sent out, via mail, or I don't even know if they're sent, electronically. My site supervisor didn't mention that, but um, I would just assume that you would still need the mail service, especially to those families who live far. They also don't have internet. Person in charge, probably the office staff, and then someone on the administration team. Weekly reminder sheet to send home from the homeroom teacher. So this frequency would be once a week on Mondays when the head principal sends out those bulleted points and a newsletter of weekly happenings. The purpose would be that it's sent home on paper regarding important reminders about school, especially including grades, progress reports, grading policies, and extracurricular events going on at the school. I feel like the purpose here is obvious that people who don't have internet are going to have some way to communicate at home. They can also add some accountability to students. So I know that, I'm teaching high school, but we do have an enrichment period, which is kind of like our homeroom. If you didn't have a homeroom or an enrichment, say if I were a principal at this school, then I would, whatever attendance reporting time is, what, 11 o'clock or third period right now, I would make that teacher be responsible for, this would be campus wide. So every single campus would have those students would have a folder, then teachers give those out at that certain time of attendance reporting, enrichment, or a study hall period. And I think it's a good way that students can keep up a piece of paper and be responsible for it. And they are also communicating with their parents directly. The person in charge here would be the associate or assistant principals with approval from the head principal. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.